The high each day is right now about 80, and at night it goes down to about 70. So Celsius, let's see, that's what? Let me calculate it real quick. So it's about it's about 20 at night, and then 26, 27 during the day.
26, 27. Oh, it's pretty good on Celsius. Well, I also know the measure in the other scale. Okay, so it's fine for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I set it up all the time in the hotel. In the hotel room. I set the temperature. Okay, so we're going live right now. So good morning, everybody. Buenos días a todos. Vamos a hacer este live en Spanglish, like a little bit in English and a little bit in Spanish, un poco en español. Vamos a estar compartiendo hoy con dos personas muy conocidas, muy reconocidas por mí. We're going to be sharing today with two known people of mine, David Boudreau and Ignacio Nevia. We are going to be talking today about the process of moving to Miami for LATAM professionals. As many people may know, we were in a process of setting all the operations in Miami in Potencia Laboral. So in this process, I met David, who's a very, very interesting person with a very interesting experience as well. And invite him to do this live today so we can talk about how's the process for any professional who would like to move into Miami from Latin America. So first of all, let me give you the welcome. David, thanks for being with us. And Ignacio, thanks for being with us as well. Sí, how are you today? ¿Cómo está? ¿Usted habla español?
Sí, as I say, un poquito.
Un poquito. Everybody's like the same. It's fine. Yeah. And it's totally first time movement. So, David, can you please introduce yourself for the people to know about yourself, your experience, what you're actually doing in the company that you're working right now? You're living in Miami, so you, for a lot of years, not just a couple of years. So can you share with us about your experience? But first of all, let me know you.
Sure. I am currently working as regional director and also principal with the CFO Center. We provide part-time or fractional chief financial officer services primarily to entrepreneurs, small business owner managers, with a revenue base generally somewhere between $2 million per year and $100 million per year. We are in the process of developing the South Florida marketplace. Our company has offices in 17 countries and a team of about 700 CFOs throughout the globe. And I'm coming to this as after a career of close to 40 years now, about half and half between finance, operation and operations. I've been a chief financial officer and a chief operating officer as well. Public companies, private companies, investment groups, what have you. Now I'm a native Floridian, and I've spent the bulk of my career in the South Florida, Miami area. So I've got a wide scope, if you will, or wide breadth of some experience. Enjoy working with small business entrepreneur owners, like to build businesses and help people, realize their goals and objectives from their businesses.
Okay, excellent. That's a very interesting experience and point of view of what you've been doing on Miami for all these years. So thank you very much for being with us, David. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros, David. Es una muy interesante experiencia lo que nos has contado. Y ahora mi buen amigo Ignacio Neira. Nacho, ¿cómo estás? Ignacio, how are you doing today? Would you like to introduce him?
Bien, todo bien por acá. Excellent, very great. Volviendo de vacaciones, así que ha sido un aterrizaje forzoso.
Mira. ¿Puedes presentarte para los que no te conozcan?
Just to say, David, I'm coming back from holidays, so it has been a really hard return, but it was an awesome rest. Pero bueno, eso, gerente de desarrollo nacional para Comanche en Latinoamérica. Ya 10 años aquí trabajando, aprox, así que feliz de estar hoy día en esta sesión.
Okay, very good. So we're going to start with this. Let's just get to chase here. So, well, we already went that through. So what about, let's start, David, with the first question that we need to ask you. This is a general question. So what about the experience of working in Miami? As I know, you have a lot of contact with a lot of countries, especially here in Latin America. So I think that you have a very interesting point of view of the experience for any professionals of working in Miami. Miami is a very special city. I love the place. You know, I've been there. What can you tell us about the experience of working over there?
You know, Miami, so much of its character and personality, both culturally as well as economically, it's driven by diversity. Miami has, in a short period of time, developed itself and become effectively the commerce economic hub for a lot of Latin American companies, and a lot of American companies that have set up and use Miami as their Latin American headquarters or Latin American hubs. So you've got on the one hand a significant presence of Latin American businesses in Miami, whether they're based here or their headquarters, their LATAM offices are here. And then most recently, and this is literally in the last 2 years, one of the side effects, if you will, or the offshoots of the pandemic is that during the pandemic, a lot of people came to Miami primarily to escape, if you will, or get relief from the lockdown that was occurring in a lot of northeastern cities, such as New York, Boston, what have you, and also in some of the California cities, just because of the cost. So what has happened literally in the last 24 months, it's become very much a tech hub, not only for U.S. companies, but for LATAM and international companies. So when you pull back, in summary, you look at it and you go, there's a lot of diversity here. There's a lot of small business. There's a lot of big business. And there's a lot of new business, primarily geared towards tech. And so the area, for lack of a better word, is booming. You can see it in construction. You can see it in the price, the cost of living. Miami has gone from being, a city that's very, very prevalent to Latin America and the United States, and now I think it's very much and quickly becoming a world city as well.
Okay, very good. Well, como menciona David, desde el inicio de la pandemia, I'm going to translate into Spanish.
Yeah.
Spanish. Desde el inicio de la pandemia, mucha gente se fue a Miami como una especie de escape de la situación, pero también se comenzó a producir un efecto muy de tecnologización de la ciudad. Muchas empresas de Latinoamérica se implementaron en Miami y también, de hecho, lo que yo he comenzado con muchas personas y el entendimiento mío es que Miami se considera como la capital de Latinoamérica. O sea, para todas las personas y las empresas que quieran manejarse a nivel ya del continente, se implementan allá en Miami. Entonces, ha habido un aumento de muchas personas que se fueron para allá y muchas empresas también que han llegado. And I also may add, David, that I've heard that Florida is in a plan of increasing the companies in the States because they have plans to put Florida into a higher level than it was a couple of years ago. That's right, huh?
That's right. It's right. What people realized during the pandemic, especially, is many businesses, yours included, mine included, learned how to operate without having to go to an office or to a place. And so that allowed people to take advantage of what goes on in Florida. Primarily, there's no income tax, personal income tax in the state of Florida. So that's a very advantageous thing for a lot of business executives. And the other thing is because people have been able now to work remote or hybrid, where they can visit an office temporarily compared to full time. In its simplest form, they say, well, I can sit in a place where the weather is very nice, the tax structure is very good. It becomes very desirable for a lot of people, to work here. Like I said, because now the technology and the culture is such, business can be done sitting in your house, or in some places sitting at a park or on the beach in Miami. And that combined with the tax structure and the environment makes it very attractive for a lot of people.
A very interesting point is that when I was in Miami a couple of weeks ago, I saw that you're practically going out of the pandemic right now. So
Right.
Maybe at this point there shouldn't be any COVID over there. So everything is working just fine for now. But anyway, most of the companies that are searching for professionals do job offers in the hybrid modality. I mean, the remote, but not specifically full, like going to the company and being on the presential level. So they mostly done on remote offers. So I think that you got a very important point over there. Companies are now understanding that they can work in a hybrid way, and that is going on the job offers for professionals. But anyway, what I saw when I was over there is that there's a lot of companies that can't find the professionals that they're looking for. There are a lot of job offers in Miami for people who want to work, but there are not many professionals for the company. Do you have a similar look about that, David?
There's certain segments, it seems, of industry where, I would say that the demand and the supply, if you will, of talent is a little out of balance. It's difficult for me to say, exactly which areas more than others, but it does seem, from my point of view, that there's always an excess demand for people with technical skills, whether they're developers or coders, what have you. And there's also, it seems, a lot of demand for in my world, like what I call or it is called financial planning and analysis. That manager level skill set of people that can drive a business. They're not necessarily running the business, and they're not setting just in terms of getting started, but they have, they're professionals, they have the skill set, and they got a whole career in front of them.
Okay, pretty good. We have a question over here from Mitch.
I see that.
Madel. He's referring to IT field. So he's asking how difficult is to find a job on IT managing areas just with local experience, but in international companies. Do you have any idea about that? Because this is a different field of yourself.
I'm not. I don't want to represent that I'm an expert, or that I'm terribly knowledgeable in that particular arena. I can just give you like observation. It seems, it seems that IT tech skill sets are still in high demand. And the only thing I would offer, if it was myself looking at the international marketplace, are there language issues that need to be dealt with or managed or overcome? But apart from that, if you're in the environment, in Miami, whether you could close your eyes and open them, and you could pretend you're in a South American capital as well, in terms of the culture, and in terms of the companies and the names on the door, so to speak, of the different companies that are here.
Okay, so what I think is, and I was also taking a look at a report. There's a note on the local newspaper on the United States they were saying that one of the top 10 careers or fields to find a job in Miami is the IT area.
Yeah.
So only one of them, I mean, the last one is data processing. But one of the most required professionals in Miami and in Florida as well are IT professionals. So I think that Mitchell has a very important opportunity over there if you want to search a job in Florida, I mean Miami, Florida. Okay. Thank you, David. Thank you, Mitchell, for your question. Very good one.
I just want to add one point that I was like, I think that many people now it's more like willing to apply to these countries like United States through LinkedIn, for example. The offers are like open there. You can apply. I think that nowadays it's easier to match with an opportunity, because before I think that it was more like closed to different countries. Like you live in the market that you want to work. Nowadays, I have seen many cases of people that is looking for a job on those platforms. Maybe you can also look for the US platforms, like most Glassdoor. No, Glassdoor is not one. I can share later, like the ones that,
ZipRecruiter, that's one.
for example,
ZipRecruiter, that's one
you
of the
can
most.
research the ones that are more used there. But also, I think that going directly to the websites of the companies, it's very useful. I have heard even of cases of teachers, like people like working here that wanna work in the US, and they go directly school by school, like letting know that they are interested on that. So I think one aspect could be useful, like to use the job search platforms, explore the ones that are more used in the US, for example, in this case. And also, I think that if you work in international companies, some are like really connected, some others not, but it can be useful to search opportunities inside your company, but in other countries. So that can be like useful as well.
Totalmente de acuerdo, Ignacio. I fully agree with you. Realmente, bueno, hablando un poco en español, David menciona que hay un sinfín de oportunidades hoy en día en Miami, lo cual yo corroboro. De hecho, ese es uno de los motivos principales por los cuales tomé la decisión de montar nuestra operación en esa ciudad, y es porque efectivamente la demanda de profesionales para trabajar en esa ciudad es muchísimo mayor a la oferta de profesional disponible que hay. Yo conversando con otras personas mencionan de Florida, ni siquiera Miami, Florida en general, mencionan que el profesional prácticamente está eligiendo en qué empresa trabajar en Miami. Entonces hay una oportunidad increíblemente importante para el profesional de Latinoamérica que se quiere trasladar y quiere comenzar un proceso en Miami. Ahora, el proceso en sí es otro. Hay distintos tipos de visados que los vamos a ver en otro live, el cual lo vamos a hacer con un abogado también, que es amigo mío, que está en Miami, y quien nos va a comentar sobre ese proceso. David, what I was just telling before is that there's, in my point of view, there's a lot of job offers right now in Miami at some point that even professionals are choosing which is the company that they want to work.
Right.
There's such a higher level of job offers from companies right now, that it's too different, the level of job offer that the company has and the professional offer that are willing to work into new companies.
Yeah, I would say, from everything I see and read, it's definitely, or at least seems to be, like I said, I'm not in that industry, but it definitely seems to be a job seekers marketplace more so than say a job offering marketplace. And I do continue to see and read and hear about, the shortage of talent. And I see a question there, what industry with the most offers? That's hard to say, because I think that there are, I have to be a little careful because, people frequently want to, talk about SaaS industry,
Yes.
software as a service. And that's probably would be my answer. However, beyond that, I think somebody'd have to do some diligence because SaaS is a very broad, category. But I would probably start down that road,
Okay, well, cuando David habla de SaaS, refiere a Software as a Service, que es una línea que no solamente implica el rubro TI, sino que todo el modelo de negocios de empresas que funcionan a través de software para poder posicionarse en el mercado. Well, complementing what you would just say, David, I am fully agree with you, and I also believe that any IT areas are actually one of the most required positions on Florida, as we mentioned before, But anyway, there are a lot of other opportunities, like in logistics, operations, human resource. There are also a lot of job offers on human resource as well. So I think that people just need to search for a job in Miami. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for them. So, Ignacio, anything to add over there?
What about construction? I remember that I read some news about a train that will connect Miami with Orlando. I don't know if that's happening, but I don't know. Maybe that's a project that can move like some things, mainly in terms of living, but also in terms of job.
Yeah, there's a train line, Bright Line, is the name of it, and there's still construction going on of the rail links from South Florida to Orlando, but it's still, that project, as I understand, is still very much alive, and it's something I think that people are looking forward to. That hopefully it comes to fruition.
Mhm.
Okay, pretty good. We have another question here from Stefan. He's talking about, if you get a job in Miami, what are the steps to be able to work there? Well, I think this question should be arranged in the next slide that we're going to have with a lawyer. But first of all, you need a job offer, Stefan, from a company who wants to hire and who wants to be your sponsor to go to Miami. David, I don't know if you want to address this question.
I can't. I wouldn't want to represent that I understand the visa process, apart from a company agreeing to sponsor a candidate for the visa steps or the visa process. Living place. The comment I would make there is I believe Miami is, in South Florida in general, living is starting to get expensive. Some would say it's already expensive. We've had a tremendous influx of people who have bought properties and bought apartments, condominiums, single-family homes in this area, and they they're doing things like buying units sight unseen. Where they look at an advertisement on the web, they speak to somebody on the phone, and they buy the property. So it's a competitive marketplace. The marketplace is expensive. However, there's South Florida, apart from, say, Miami proper, or just the city of Miami, there's a significant amount of area of developed, that's north of the city proper, where there could probably be some affordable housing, whether it's in Palm Beach County, Broward County, or in the suburbs of Miami and Dade County. So I wouldn't want to say that it's easy right now, but it's doable.
Doable.
Yeah.
I like that one. Okay, thank you, David. We have a question.
But as you can probably envision, it's not much different if you think about Lima, or you think about Santiago, or these types of places in South America, where you have a significantly sized metropolitan area with a lot of different opportunities and a lot of different economic areas.
Okay, Okay, thank you, David. There's another question I found it interesting from Mercedes Franchoso. She's asking, how could you get an offer in Miami without a sponsorship? The first step. There's, I believe, from what I know, if you want to work, if you want a visa to move into Miami, you need the sponsorship for a company to get the job permission, right, David?
Yes, but
Okay. Well, I
Maybe
think she's right. Yes.
yeah, I just want to add one point, maybe on terms of how to get to the chance of working there. Uh, I think that in the United States, David, you have clearly more experience in that. But for example, universities invest a lot on their students in terms of networking. I think that I had the chance to study a quarter in University of Pennsylvania, uh, and the Wharton School. I remember it was like 6 months of networking with companies, talking, meeting, having interviews, and that is a process that the university invested a lot. So it was Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, etc. Many companies. So I think that one option is effectively like looking for a job in a website, but I think that another option is invest on networking. I
yeah,
know it's hard from other country, but I think that the pandemic has shown us that it's not impossible. So maybe connecting with people in the US in companies that you are interested on can be a first step, and start commenting on your interest, why you're interested in certain company or certain area, and that could be a first step that can be a stronger strategy than only using maybe websites.
Yeah, I'm agree, and also would like to add that when you apply to job offers on LinkedIn and you're searching on LinkedIn for offers for you to apply, many of the job offers take you to a different website, to a company website, and one of the questions that they have is, do you need sponsorship for the company? En español, muchas ofertas a las que tú puedas postular en LinkedIn, sobre todo en Estados Unidos, algunas de ellas te lanzan a otros sitios web que son propios de la empresa, o dentro de las mismas preguntas incluso te preguntan si necesitas sponsorship. Es como sponsoreo, como que ellos te autoricen y sean como los que te ayuden en el visado para que tú vayas a la empresa. That's a very common thing on job offers in Miami. Many companies do the filter on that issue. They say we just want to get to professionals that don't need the sponsorship, or they're going to evaluate if the professional really applied to have a sponsorship process for the company to move into Miami. So there are different situations that you need to handle while moving into Miami. But if you're asking any way to go to Miami without having a sponsorship, maybe you should check into the courses. Some people takes like they go into the English courses, and they can have the possibility to move into Miami and go stay for 6 months, maybe a year. I believe it's 6 months, and you can be over there and study, get your course. But I think that you can't work when you go with an English course or something like that, or a degree or anything else. You can't work over there. So this is a legal issue, which we are not the experts over here, but maybe we can talk about this in the next slide that we have, maybe next Wednesday. David, I don't know if you want to add anything to this.
no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, very good. We're moving on. So, Ignacio,
Yeah, I think that we have talked about different elements, but what about the career opportunities for professionals there? I think that we have talked about different industries that are attractive in
Yeah.
Miami, but what do you think about the career opportunities for professionals nowadays? What are the most interesting careers for people in Miami nowadays?
But for me, in addition to the tech opportunities, or the SaaS, if you will, industries that we talked about, the other areas that are prevalent in Miami, of course, hospitality, everything from hotels, restaurants, and cruise ships, cruise companies. As you can imagine, South Florida is very much tourism, and hospitality is very much a part of the local economy. Always has been, and because of the weather and the there's an attraction or a vibe, if you will, regarding Miami. I think it'll always be a tourist hub. Other areas that are big, of course, real estate, as development continues to be pretty strong, and construction, and so frequently real estate and construction are under the same roof, as it were, or maybe within the same company. But if I had to pick three industries that are very healthy and always developing here, I would say hospitality, development, real estate development and investment, and construction. And with the development being kind of the overlap. And in addition now to the SaaS industries.
Great. Solo para ir abarcando esos puntos, tres industrias principalmente bien conectadas entre sí, real estate, que tiene que ver con todo lo que son arriendos, compra, venta de, digamos, departamentos y casas, todo lo que son servicios asociados a hoteles, restaurantes, todo lo que está asociado a los negocios de cruceros, por ejemplo, y construcción, y que finalmente son tres industrias que están muy conectadas en Miami. Me gusta rescatar un punto que plantea al principio David, al principio de la conversa, que tiene que ver con esta figura, o este carácter, o esta personalidad diversa de Miami. Entonces hay algo bien interesante que se da en estas tres industrias también, creo que conecta con eso. And what do you think about the career growth on those industries? It's for example, I think real estate, I've seen many people that go to Miami and start a career on that aspect. Obviously, in the services area, hotels, restaurants as well. How do you think about the progression, and how easy is to get in those industries?
I think that the avenues that you've outlined, are becoming and have become the most effective. Things like the LinkedIn networking, taking advantage of the things that get posted on the LinkedIn, just like here through a LinkedIn, to maybe be a webinar. You come through a webinar or some sort of a networking event, you break out into smaller groups of people and you talk to each other, and then you follow up. And I think that's I think that at least currently, that's a very effective platform and a very effective channel for both networking and looking at career opportunities. Apart from that, and it'd be difficult to recommend much beyond, but maybe having engaging with a specific recruiting service or professional who understands well your skill set and what you're looking to do, and can kind of be, as they say, your eyes and ears in Miami for looking for specific opportunities. But I do admit, even though it's become very popular very fast, I think that the tools and the platform services offered by LinkedIn are probably still your best bet.
Can I complement the question? Sorry, Ignacio. So in Chile, and mostly in Latin America, when you get into a job, if you keep working to the company and you show to the company that you have the competence, the skills to assume new positions and new responsibilities in the company, you may develop a career in the same company. But when the people is moving, any professional is moving from Latin America to Miami, what about that process, David? any professional who go to Miami with a sponsorship of a company to be working over there, what about the career development in the same company? So we need to think in just one position per se, I mean, forever, or is the dynamics the same as in any other country in your point of view?
Yeah, I would offer on that it's very much driven by the individual. And of course, there you hopefully picking the right company too, where there is opportunities, but opportunity to a large degree is going to be driven by the skill set that the individual brings to the table, but also the cultural fit. And it's you take like a sports analogy or something, how in certain situations, how people come together as a team, they could be very, very successful in one environment, but then with the same skill set, they may not be as successful in another. So, I would offer that, spend the time and get comfortable with a cultural fit, as well as, as they say, checking the box for a skill set, that's, or in some cases, what they say, you're looking for a good EQ or an emotional quotient, as a match. It's about a match, and then the individual's ability to execute. Certain things are going to be, I think, very, very valuable as time goes on. Obviously, even though it sounds very simple, if somebody's bilingual, obviously, that's a huge skill set to bring to the table. Understanding current telecommunications and how business is transacted, via tech, and not just tech as a means, but tech as an environment on how to utilize tools. Those are the kind of things I see more and more is having those skills and then being able to fit in with the people that you work with.
Okay, very good.
There's definitely opportunity for the right chemistry for the right situations.
Okay, so in resume, you're referring that it's the same as in company, considering that the professional should have the skills to develop the career into any company, and also has the cultural fit for what the company needs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Lo que comenta David es que efectivamente es prácticamente la misma dinámica en cualquier empresa, pero sí, claro, hay dos aspectos que influyen mucho, sobre todo ahí en Miami. Uno es las competencias que tú tengas como profesional, y lo otro, el calce, el ajuste cultural que tú tengas como profesional cuando te muevas a este tipo de empresa para desarrollar una carrera. Cuando yo refiero a desarrollar una carrera, tiene sentido con el hecho de que tú vayas ascendiendo, asumiendo nuevas posibilidades dentro de la misma empresa. No es que tampoco, y esto por qué lo pregunto, why I am asking this, David, because some people told me that they believe that in Miami, when a company sponsor you for going to work with them to Miami, they believe that they're going to be in the same position for all the time. Like you're going to be just there. So I know that's not right.
Okay? Yeah. I think just as an opinion, it's very difficult, I think, to generalize, that it's going to be all this way or it's all going to be that way. There's so many variables at play. Some are within an individual's control, but many are not, in terms of, say, the business health or the people that are already there. But I would say it this way, that the fact that somebody's coming in from Chile or or another country in South America versus, say, somebody that's here, once a company decides to sponsor you, they've made a commitment, and they, because of that commitment, just like a commitment they would make to anybody else they hire, they would really prefer that you're successful compared to not. And so, based on everything that you can control, it should be a level playing field.
Okay. Thank you, David. We are going to move into our next point that we have for today. We're going to be talking about professional profiling. What's that? Uh, just in one phrase, when a professional is working in Latin America as a manager, as a chief, as a leader, isn't necessarily going to be the same position that the professional is going to get once he moved into Miami for a company. It's the same. David, what do you think about that?
I mean, in my experience, um, frequently it doesn't work that way, but it's not because well, I'll say it's because sometimes it's just different titles mean different things in different cultures. Um, you know, frequently I've been in South America, and somebody who was a director of a facility might be, you know, called a vice president in Estados Unidos, but I've also seen it go the other way. You know, maybe in a factory, everybody's an engineer. When they come here, they wouldn't be, you know, they wouldn't be at an engineer's level. You know, they might be at, you know, a floor type position. And you know what? That's not exclusive to United States and South America. I mean, it happens in the United States as well. You know, you have somebody in a small business who quote unquote is a controller, you know, in a big business there it might be just a bookkeeper. You know, I would focus as much on anything on understanding the functional responsibilities of a position and where it's slotted, meaning where does it fit in the organization. You know, sometimes a finance guy might be reporting to 2 or 3 levels above him, you know, in the finance arena. Sometimes they might be called an accounting manager to reporting directly to the chief executive officer. So I would look at where its level of responsibility in an organization, and then look at the specific skill sets that are required. Then I would look to see. I would then look to see about the title or the, you know, or the job name, because they can vary, not only, like I said, from LATAM to USA, but from companies within the USA.
Can we talk about a myth over there, David? Maybe I'm jumping too high on that, but everybody thinks that if they're moving from Latin America to United States, that they're going to get into floor positions. Should that be a myth?
They're going to get what? Sorry?
Into floor positions, like based positions, like if they're working as a manager or a director in Latin America,
Yeah.
if they move into Miami, they're going to be working as an analyst or just an engineer. Maybe can we call that a myth? Or
Well, and I also, yeah, I think that that's partly a myth, but I also think that that points to how a person presents and markets themselves as well.
okay.
You know, if you have the skill set to be a vice president or director, that's what you should seek to achieve, and perhaps not accept something that you're overqualified for. So,
Okay.
in that regard, it's a little complicated. I probably would not be able to support overgeneralizing there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I really think that you know, if you're just looking just to get into the United States and take a job, yeah, that might happen, because, you know, I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people that would hire if they can get somebody, you know, that's overqualified to accept the position. They'll be glad to bring them on board. But I really think that a lot of that is how a person presents and markets themselves.
Yeah, okay, but Ignacio, are you agree with that the positions, I mean, the skills required for high-level positions in the United States are different than the skills in Latin America due to the culture, to the dynamics of the market,
Yeah,
and everything about that?
I totally agree with David, because each company is so different. We have some positions here. I don't know. For example, in Camacho, we have some like managers that are not really executives, like and some others are executives. So and that happens inside the organization in different countries.
Yeah.
So I think that it depends on the organization. Many times, I don't know, maybe entrepreneurs. Many times at the beginning of LinkedIn, I remember that they were like, "I'm CEO of this company," and it was an entrepreneurship that was really small. So clearly, you cannot compare that CEO with Google
Right.
CEO or any other. So I think that it depends on the company, the industries, and nowadays many organizations have different structures. So I think it's difficult to generalize that. Um, but I think that some industries have decided to use certifications that can help you to validate your knowledge if you want to go to other countries. There are many,
Yeah.
I don't know, for HR professionals, there are some certifications that are international that can be very useful in order to get in another country with the credentials that show that you have certain kind of expertise. And I think that many industries around the world have done that way. For example, the Project Management Institute is an organization that has worked on validating some competencies. So I think that it's hard to have one consensus in everything because of the different sizes, styles, cultures, and definitions of the companies. But the common spaces are in order to prove your expertise, and sometimes, not always, but can be useful, like some credentials that show your expertise and competences in certain positions.
Um, I think that David has a very important point because it depends on any company skills definition. But the thing, David, it does the skill requires U.S. companies compared to Latin company are quite different. And you're right, it happens in the same U.S. because people moving from a small company to big company are going to maybe downgrade the positions. But I think that uh, this happens more from Latin American professionals moving to US than in the same US. Make sense?
Yeah, and the only thing I would offer there is, don't sell yourself short. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we are going to last point for closing this live. Ignacio, would you like to address this one?
Yeah, mainly recommendations for professionals who are willing to relocate. How to make it. You told us a little bit about the LinkedIn webinars, networking. What do you think, like the recommendations for a professional who wants to go to work to Miami?
Oh, Dave, the question is what kind of recommendations can you be in general to people who
Yeah.
are willing to move
Yeah.
from Latin America to Miami?
I would just, emphasize, some of the points we've made earlier. I haven't had to go through the process from coming from Latin America to here, but I've been through the process, obviously, of developing my own business, getting clients, and developing or creating a business, if you will, or creating a position. To Ignacio's point, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. It's so much about networking. It takes a follow up. Like there's a phrase they use here sometimes is you have to almost make a job out of getting a job. It has to be, you need to be structured and organized. And the follow up is so important. If you talk to a potential networking resource on a Wednesday and you say, I'll call back in 2 weeks, you need to call back in 2 weeks. You got to and develop the network because, even with clients that I get, there's no two processes that are exactly the same. You can talk to somebody one time and they sign with you, or you get an opportunity. You talk to somebody else 20 times and you can't get anywhere. But the 21st time something happens. So the point I would make is use the tools that are available on the web. It's amazing how we can connect nowadays with other countries, businesses, individuals, and follow up, keep good detailed records, and you got to work at it. You know, like I said, you have to treat it like a job in and of itself. You know, you get up, you sit down at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever, and you have things that you're going to do, and you have to do them, and you make it happen. And that's what it is. It's a bit of a, it's work, but it's very rewarding, you know, and that's it's, I would like to say there's some lightning in a bottle that you catch, or there's some magic potion, or some do 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be the result, you know, say like an algebraic equation, but it's just grinding out the work. It's doing the work.
Y ahí solamente para cerrar el punto acá, como dice David, no es una poción mágica, ni una ecuación algebraica, ni hay ni un manual de pasos para encontrar que él pudiera compartir, sino que lo refirió antes en torno a hacer redes, conversar con la gente. Como dice el dicho que planteaba él, hay que hacer que buscar trabajo se convierta en un trabajo, o sea, hacer compromisos, contactar personas, hablar, llamar. Si digo, te voy a llamar en 2 semanas, te llamo en 2 semanas. Planteaba la importancia de LinkedIn, su utilidad en generar redes, en buscar trabajo, ir a webinars. En un momento anterior comentaba, que era el punto que antes mencionaba, que ir a webinars, se puede encontrar espacios pequeños con quienes asisten en el webinar para compartir lo que pasó, conocer personas. Servicios de reclutamiento o asesoría, ahí Hugo puede pasar publicidad, pero eso en términos generales recomienda David a la hora de pensar en moverse allá.
Okay. Yo creo que estamos. David, I would like to really thank you for your time, for sharing with us.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. So thank you very much. We are on time to finish this slide. We hope that all the information that we have shared, that we share with all the attendants, may be very useful for them if they're willing to move into Miami. I really want to thank you again, David. Thank you, Ignacio, for being here and talk about this. Maybe we can do this again in the future, okay? But thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Best of luck to everybody on the call or on the webinar. And gentlemen, I appreciate your input and hosting as well. Be well.
Okay.
Best to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Okay, bye.